Hitman Arthur Bishop sneaks into the home of a Colombian cartel boss and drowns him in his own pool. Upon returning home to Louisiana, he meets with his friend and mentor Harry McKenna, who pays Bishop for his work. Bishop is then assigned to kill Harry. Bishop's employer Dean confirms by phone that the contract is correct, whereupon Bishop requests a face-to-face meeting. Dean tells him about a failed mission in South Africa, in which several assassins were killed. Dean reveals that only he and Harry knew the details of the mission, and that Harry had been paid for the contract details. Reluctantly, Bishop kills Harry with the latter's own gun and makes it look like a carjacking. At the funeral, Bishop encounters Harry's son Steve, where he stops from trying to kill a would-be carjacker in a misguided attempt at vengeance. Following this, Steve asks Bishop to train him as a hitman. Adopting a Chihuahua, he instructs Steve to take the dog with him to a coffee shop each day at the same time. As Steve settles into a routine, Bishop escalates their training, taking him to observe a contract killing. The target, Burke, frequents the coffee shop and eventually invites Steve out for drinks. Bishop instructs Steve to slip a large dose of Rohypnol into Burke's drink to cause an overdose. But Steve ignores the instructions and goes with Burke to his apartment. When Burke begins to undress, Steve attempts to strangle him with a belt as he had seen Bishop do on a former assignment. Burke fights back, using his size advantage and experience, but Steve manages to kill Burke after a lengthy fight. Dean expresses disapproval of Bishop's usage of Steve, which violated the rules of contract arrangement. Bishop's next contract is to kill cult leader Andrew Vaughn, whom he plans to inject with adrenaline to simulate a heart attack, for which the paramedics would administer a fatal dose of epinephrine. While Bishop and Steve are preparing for the hit, Vaughn's doctor arrives and administers an 4 of ketamine, which would inhibit the adrenaline's effects. The two decide to suffocate him instead, but are discovered after killing Vaughn and are forced into a shootout with the guards. After the hit, Bishop and Steve fly home separately. At the airport, Bishop finds a supposed victim of the mission that Harry allegedly sold out. He confronts the hitman, who tells Bishop that he was paid by Dean to kill the others in South Africa and fake his own death, so that Dean could engineer the failed mission to cover up his own shady dealings. He also reveals that Dean framed Harry and tricked Bishop into killing him. He then attempts to kill Bishop, who ultimately kills him in the ensuing struggle. Bishop is later ambushed by Dean's henchmen, and after killing them, he discovers that Dean was behind the hit. Bishop calls Steve, only to find that Steve has been ambushed. After Bishop helps Steve to kill his attackers, he finds his father's gun and realizes that Bishop killed Harry. Bishop and Steve kill Dean in an ambush. When they stop for gas, Steve floods the ground with fuel while pretending to fill the tank before shooting the gas, blowing up the truck with Bishop seemingly still inside. Steve returns to Bishop's house and performs 2 actions that Bishop told him not to do: play a record on the turntable and take the 1966 Jaguar E-Type. As he drives away, Steve finds a note from Bishop and realizes that the car is rigged with a bomb. Steve gives one last laugh before the car explodes, killing him. Bishop's house is then destroyed by an explosion. Back at the gas station, a security video reveals that Bishop had escaped from the truck seconds before the explosion. Bishop gets into a spare truck and drives away.